Yeah. Hard. Militant-minded general, nine gripped, equipped with blades and a pen that can sharpen your spine's tip. Level-headed, though my mind flips from side to side. With an acrobat's experience, after I stick it, I'm luring down a demon-possessed Ahiye. Seems Jay's the best for the job with no code.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR _podcast, No Rules Podcast. You are now live and direct with your boys, Cinko, Big Harv, and J-Bo himself for episode 17 of No Rules Podcast, KTR _podcast. What is the word, my brothers? How y'all doing? Happy New Year, first of all.
Happy New Year's, my guys.
First episode of 2021. Can y'all believe it? We are here. We are live. We are alive. We're alive and alive. Was blessed. Made out of 2020. But like I said, how y'all feeling today, though?
I'm feeling good, big dog. Yeah, I woke up good, happy, living, made it through 2021. Although 2021 is still going through the same BS that we was dealing with in 2020, but I'm happy to be here.
Big Harv.
Yeah, I woke up with enough energy to go storm the Capitol building single-handedly. Let's do this.
The episode
KTR versus the government.
Start. This dude is on it.
Let's go.
Well, I'm glad you made time for episode 17.
I need my stemmy. Where's my stem? Where is it? Yeah, let's go.
Well, before we dive into this episode, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR _podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Know the Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Know the Roast Podcast on all podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. We are on everything.
Everything.
And for those that are watching on YouTube right now, yes, I am wearing a onesie right now, so just don't judge me. I felt this is comfortable and it's warm. It's cold where we're at right now. It's 30 degrees or below. So, and I don't believe in using my electricity right now. So.
And y'all couldn't tell sitting on the couch, last week, he is the size of an actual toddler, so it actually works out. He's in a high chair as well. We just can't see it. He got the thing across his chest, little feet kicking. It's adorable for the world to know. I just wanted the world to know for you, man. Baby bro over there. Baby bro.
I'm not sure. I'm average height. But anyway, moving on. Now let's get started with episode 17. First off, we're going to get started with the World Wrestling Entertainment Business, WWE.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning of 2021, we have seen some surprises already going forward with the start of WrestleMania season, which begins with the Royal Rumble. And, with the Royal Rumble, we have surprise entrants in the match. It's always some surprise guests that may come up before the show or after the show or during the show. But WWE, especially with Raw, they had their Legends Nights episode. They had brought back a few of the greats. They had Alicia Fox on that joint. They had who else they had?
Still looking good.
They had Ric Flair, Nature Boy. They had a couple of guys I can't either seem to remember or I don't want to mention them right now. But they had another person that appeared, Bill Goldberg.
Old bird. Oh,
he made his return back to WWE Raw. And not only did he make his return, he made a challenge to the top dog on Raw right now, Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion. And he challenged him at the Royal Rumble for his title.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it seems like WWE always brings back their legends or part-timers to quote unquote, help keep their shows alive, to help them survive, to do numbers. You know what they do? Pump them numbers, this and that. But
no pumping.
Some wrestlers feel some type of way about, especially Mustafa Ali. He had his spiel on Raw talk about how he feels about people that are full-time workers with the company not getting their opportunity or chances when you have people that work probably 2 days a year being on the main stage, getting these title runs after their run is way long and gone. So how do y'all feel about Goldberg coming back again and challenging Drew McIntyre for the WWE title at the Royal Rumble? J-Ball, I know you got a lot to say.
There has to come a point where you bring certain guys back and you don't bring them back, not just because they've been in the ring already, but it's just bad work. You know, everyone remembers when he fought against The Undertaker in one of the most painfully watched matches of our generation. Then he beat the Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
I love that match. Hats off to him.
No,
he
man,
scared the out of him. Ain't that right, Big Harv?
Anyway, I'm trying to protect you here, Sam.
Goo goo gaga, Sam. Goo goo gaga. Yeah.
It was bad for the Fiend's character. But now you're gonna bring him back randomly against Drew McIntyre. The first thing was we all thought from the rumors and the blogs it was going to be Roman Reigns again for the Universal title, but now it surprisingly brings him back out for Drew McIntyre. I read on the blogs, and I think Ali said the same thing, where the idea is that because of the legacy that they carved is that they can come in and that they can pretty much get what they want. But Ali disagreed with that, and I strongly disagree as well. How can you use your legacy to come in and take title shots from young guys and girls who's going in and working day and night for blood, sweat, and tears for these opportunities? They can't even carve their own legacy so that they can do the same thing for the future generations. The match is going to be terrible, in my opinion. I mean, the matches that Goldberg had recently has been terrible. Drew McIntyre doesn't need this type of match. Honestly, he don't need this type of energy in the great second WWE title reign that he has. It's a terrible idea, but honestly, it's all money in business. So it shouldn't happen, but sadly it is.
Big Harv.
Yeah, they've been painting themselves into this corner for almost 10 years now. CM Punk, made it a big point for him to personally get across about them using old guys until they're really out of them. Who else they got?
Yeah.
After Goldberg done, who else they got? Like they're in a corner now. They're using these people. They're handicapping themselves because once these people are too old. But he's not. He's Triple H. You see him enough already. He's still on TV. He's still in NXT. It's not going to be as special. Just like Goldberg's not special no more. We just saw this dude. We just saw him. They don't have anybody else. There's no more surprise factor. They're dried up. They're completely done. And they handicap themselves because now they're at a point where John Cena's really the only person that can come back. And after John Cena, then who do they have? They're not building anybody currently to be at that point where a new crop comes in 10 years from now, where they're going to be bringing them back. And then people are like, oh my God, I haven't seen them in so long. No, there's nobody. There's nobody. None. None. There's zero. Like they screwed themselves. WWE is going. I don't know. It's going to be. They're going to look like a indie spot. It's just going to be people that they've taken from the indies and brought in and just shuffle them around. That's largely what the playing field is now, and they just bringing in. I don't know what the end game is. That's literally all they have left is Bill Goldberg. Like nobody else is gonna come back. They don't have anybody else to come back. They're getting old. They're passing away. They're too old to do anything. COVID, it's just too many complications. I just feel like it's stupid. Not only are they taking opportunities from people and handicapping the business, they're taking money out of people's pockets. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting paid a couple million to wrestle one match, do a couple promos. These people wrestle all year, got to pay for all their own stuff, and most of them don't even crack 100K. Yeah, it's trash. It's trash. It's trash from a business standpoint. It's trash from a company that's been in not only his family but also in just on the upper echelon of entertainment in America for so damn long. You're ruining. You're gonna ruin everything. It's gonna come to a point where nobody's gonna care anymore about who you have. That's just what it is.
I'll even piggyback off that. I'll even add another standpoint to look at it. You also got to look at it from a health standpoint as well. You can see Goldberg walking down to the ring, and you just feel for the man.
He was complaining. When he came back last time, he said he only wanted to do it once. He didn't want to do it extended. He just wanted his son to see him wrestle. But of course, that money is addicting. It's a quick payday. I can't blame him because of that. I blame WWE. I can't blame Goldberg. I really can't. I've never been a huge fan of Goldberg because he was always a limited worker. He could never talk, Sam. He was just always a terrible talker. He was just explosive. His charisma was through. Because
I said I was a Goldberg fan or something.
That's what you go for. That's you go. No, I'm saying you go for charisma. That's your thing.
It is.
Goldberg is a top guy who never really had any audible charisma. It was all in his intensity in the ring.
True.
So that's what I'm saying. He's not what you would think of when it comes to one of the mega stars that we have that come back every now and again, because he really can't talk, you know. But it's just a bad situation, really bad.
I'm really glad that I heard y'all takes on this before I spoke on it and put my foot in my mouth about it. Because I mean, we talked about it earlier, and I had my little 2 cents about it. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait for the episode. But after hearing a thorough explanation, y'all have a great point. I looked at it like this when they brought back Goldberg, because I actually did this morning and talking about, I was like trying to look at the rosters from Raw and SmackDown just to see who might win the Royal Rumble this year. We're gonna say that for episode 18 when we do our prediction for that. That's another story. But I was looking at the rosters currently, and not going off of talent or anything, just by like storylines that recently happened and things that ended and things that are beginning and feuds and stuff like that on Raw. There's really nobody that they can really put up against Drew McIntyre, which is the messed up part about it, because they killed things either too early or they haven't built anybody up yet to that point for this match. And they just threw out Goldberg like, okay, it's going to save us space. It's going to buy us time until Royal Rumble season, because 9 times out of 10, I look at whoever wins the Royal Rumble is going to be from Raw. Apparently, that's how I feel. But
I wouldn't be against
because they just trying to figure a way up how to build this, and they're just at a standstill right now because they already had the match with AJ Styles at TLC that was over, and that feud ended. They keep digging a grave for Keith Lee, so that's over. Randy Orton, he's all over the place helping saving people's lives in their careers, and I don't know what storyline he in right now because he's with the Fiend, is off and on, but pretty sure it's gonna come back again. So that's that. And so like Sheamus is there. Would make sense kind of if they did it right, but it's too late because they already like bashed them beforehand and have them.
The build isn't there.
Yeah, the build's not there, so just throwing some out. So yes, it is their fault how there isn't a maintained dynamic with who's supposed to be the next guy up, even if it is Royal Rumble season. And of course, whoever wins the Royal Rumble, it's a saved story. It's a saved 2-month story until WrestleMania. But you got to continue storylines. Like, it's not just with that. It has to be, y'all don't take breaks, It's 24/7. It's just 360. Let's gotta keep going. So with that, I agree with everything that y'all said about, with the bills and everything. But also with the talent of like who can like carry and be the next. I'll turn my flash on. With who could be the next person coming up. That's really the difficult part, honestly, in my opinion, because one is not truly 100% of the wrestler's faults of their character. I'm gonna say that
for any of it, their character, their promos, the way that they have to approach the character, they don't get to bleed into anything. Nope. It's all by the numbers. Like, it's 100% on WWE. It really is. I mean, of course, some of the talent, some of them aren't going to be up to par. It is what it is. 60%. WWE has hundreds. They have hundreds of people up there. Hundreds. And they haven't built anybody.
No.
Nobody. That's all WWE. It ain't got nothing to do with the roster. As a whole, it has nothing to do with the roster. It has to do with the company. They're not focused on the right stuff. There's no reason that you should have poached all these people from all over the world, and you can't build nobody. That's
And,
trash, man.
and what makes that even worse, even if they put somebody in those positions, like for example, Jay Uso did a surprisingly great job.
Dude,
That
But
he
now
did.
what did they do with him? Now he's Roman Reigns' lackey.
Yeah.
He's pretty much just doing whatever Roman Reigns says, and that's it. And they're
and
probably
once
going
his
to do the same.
story's over, he's never gonna get that top tier push again. It's not gonna happen.
And that's what they do. They put him in this top tier position where, like, oh my goodness, like he or she, they may actually do it. But then after the whole feud is over, number one, you either don't see them again, or number two, you see them chasing after R-Truth for the 24/7 championship. So there's no continuality with that. There's no continuance. There's no consistency after they've already been given a chance. So that's why you only have Roman Reigns. That's why you only got Drew McIntyre. That's why you only got Randy Orton, and that's it. You know, and go on from there. It's sad, really.
Okay. Shout out to main event Jay. But yeah, talk about Big E real quick.
Yeah.
Into 2020 as the Intercontinental Champion. And shout out to WWE too as well. Wait, I don't know if it's gonna be a shout out now. I'm gonna hold that off real quick. But I almost got hit myself. I'm sorry, it's early. But you know, there have been a lot of us as champions within this business. And I remember we talked about this earlier in the year about certain superstars getting opportunities, Jay Harv's word, during the pandemic era, and seeing if this was be a possibility if there were actual crowds in the stands. Would this actually happen if this was not the pandemic, if we still have fans? So, you know, we have the Hurt Business as United States champion, tag team champion. Sasha Banks as the women's champion. Street Profits, they were tag team champions. Intercontinental champion, Big E. Roman Reigns, still a person of color, champion.
Leon Ruff, North American champion.
America, exactly. Leon Ruff, North
Lee winning belts too.
Double belts.
Double belts there. Yeah. And the list goes on.
Mid-card.
So with that,
Mid-card.
so Big E win this Intercontinental title and kind of like at that point in time at the end of 2020 solidifying like basically SmackDown was like the opportunistic show at that time because you saw a lot of people of color champions. So was just on Big E. What, like you said, there's a meaning behind it. So what do you think that meaning is?
To me, and I may be getting ahead of myself, I may be speaking too early on this, but this is just what I think. I think Big E winning the Intercontinental title is a, all right, here you go, shut up type of thing. Let me explain what I mean. Think back for me. Remember when the crowd was just heavily behind Kofi? I mean, they was behind him to finally win a world heavyweight title. And they finally gave it to him, had a great 6-month title reign. Then he lost it extremely quickly and probably one of the quickest WWE title matches and never got a rematch. Okay. Then the crowd, you know, the fan base started pumping more towards, you know, wrestlers who isn't getting their chance, especially wrestlers of color. Another wrestler that came up was Naomi, where they felt that she deserved an opportunity. So what happened? She came out of nowhere, gave her an opportunity. She didn't win, but you never saw her again after that. But one of the longest reigning things we saw was Big E. I mean, for years, people was like, push Big E, push Big E, push Big E. And honestly, like I said, I could be speaking too early, but I don't think the WWE sees as much in Big E as they do in other top tier guys. So they're like, okay, well, how about we just celebrate this big Intercontinental title reign and then people will be happy. So they give them the Intercontinental title and then now we're just supposed to be satisfied. Whether I believe a good amount of fans, and like I said, I could be speaking ahead of myself, probably would like to see Big E in that same position Kofi was in. But I don't think they're going to give it to us. So they give him the Intercontinental title just to appease the fans. So I think, like I said, the meaning behind Intercontinental title is really not to give Big E a push. I think it's honestly just to shut fans up and just to keep on going.
I see you shaking your head over there, Big Horse, so I can tell you agree. So go ahead, speak your mind.
I agree 100%, man. I agree 100%. WWE. It's all, you know, here you go, shut up, deal with it. You know, that's all it's ever been. Like we're mid card. Your boy, Outlaw. We talked to him about it. Like, you know, as a black wrestler being stuck right there in the mid tier. They gave it to Kofi, lost it, never in the picture again. And that is ridiculous. We talking about the lack of top tier superstars. Kofi Kingston has been probably the most consistent wrestler on the roster since he's been there. Kofi don't put on bad matches, man. Kofi has the charisma. Kofi had the group to back him. There's no excuse for Kofi not to get any more title chances. Same with Big E, and Big E's younger. And people have been pushing for Big E, and Big E has the size. He's got the look that WWE claims they love. He's a big dude. Yeah. So it's definitely a here you go and shut up. It's all it is. It's all it's ever gonna be. They use black charisma as a driving force, and just never really rewarded. Like with they rehashed the same tag team gimmicks with black tag teams. The New Day was the exception, but all Street Profits really is a rehash of the money,
Crime Time.
Crime Time. And they disrespected Crime Time for years. They disrespected the Usos for years. People of color, not exactly black people, but people of color. Usos they was the tag champs and weren't even in the video game. I'll never forget that. Like, it's all about the charisma, it's about the swag, it's about the energy that they bring to the product, because as with everything else, black people reign supreme in that category, but they're not just going to give us anything else. It's going to be a long time before we get another black world champion.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be Big E.
Sadly.
Unfortunately. And that's my dude. You know, I've been begging for it. The only reason I wanted him to break up with New Day was to win the title. And I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm not getting that energy from what's going on with him.
And I even add just a bit more. The reason why I also think that this doesn't go anywhere is two things. Number one, we all know how the WWE feels about mid-card titles. Okay. And so for them to even throw this celebration like it was a big accomplishment at, you know, the end or beginning of the year, you know, it's lackluster. And then secondly, he's already a former Intercontinental champion. You know, he's won the belt before. So like, what's the big? I mean, not to take anything away, but it's not like, you know, Kofi winning the WWE title, the big belt, for the first time. But they definitely like celebrated all over social media, WWE.com. Like it was like this big long-term accomplishment, which is not what we were, you know, pushing for. But yeah, that's it. Cinko.
Damn. That's all I gotta say. I don't disagree with nothing. Like, y'all put everything in perspective and it makes perfect sense. Like, especially you just put the icing on the cake. Then you just remind me that he has won the Intercontinental Championship beforehand. So it's like, hey.
Yeah.
Back when he was big solo. That was before New Day and all that. That was
right.
After he left Ziggler now. He won that.
Yeah, because now you put all that in perspective. Like, I really feel like it's really pointless that y'all broke them up.
Extremely.
It is.
Yeah,
I will say it.
It's really irrelevant and pointless that y'all broke them up.
I was the one hoping for it. So yeah, I will admit to hating that hope, that I had that hope, because there's trash. 100%.
But I wouldn't even put that on, because you remember, even breaking them up in the hope to break them up, we look for something positive to come out of it. We had something positive in Kofi. We wanted the same thing, just, you know, in Big E. If it meant breaking up the group, fine, because we believed something good was going to happen. And we just got a settlement, really.
We settled out of court.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. I ain't got nothing to say about it. Like, y'all touched on everything. But we just hope it gets better and just hope y'all hear us. I'm trying to think who be. I'm trying to figure out how long this run will last.
Not that long.
It's about 3-4 months. It wasn't very long. You talking about the original IC title run?
Yeah.
Or you talking about how long this? Yeah, it was only a couple months, 3-4 months.
They're probably gonna have King Corbin take away his title for this one. So yeah, I can see that happening.
That's a different episode.
Yeah. We'll cross that path when we get there. All right. We're gonna backtrack. We went from Monday night to Friday night. We're gonna go back to Wednesday night for our last topic. On episode 16, literally after we finished recording and left the studio, shout out to Shock City Studios, first of all. After we had left the studio and got in our cars and headed home after recording our episode, we literally found out that Brody Lee, aka or formerly known as Luke Harper, actual name John Huber, passed away.
Man, that one hurt.
It did. Call everybody off guard. I was speechless. I didn't know what was going on. I logged on Twitter. I was like, wow, I hit y'all up, and it's just like this actually happened. And he was really making a great name for himself on All Elite Wrestling. And we really found out like after due to his passing, like we found out how amazing of a man he was, amazing friend, wrestler, father figure, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with leading the Dark Order on AEW. So rest in peace, first off, rest in heaven, rest in power, however y'all say it, to John Huber. Praise for his family. But what do y'all see for the future of the Dark Order now?
All right. This is gonna hurt, honestly, mainly because Luke Harper, Brody Lee, John Huber, whoever you knew to him, he was doing terrific things, not only as TNT champion, but as the leader of the Dark Order. I do want to give AEW credit, and I don't want to give them criticism just yet because it's kind of early, but I do want to at least give them credit for how they pretty much gave him pretty much the night. They changed everything, gave him the night. What they're doing for his family is beautiful. But I don't want to give early criticism, but just from what I've seen from last AEW was that the Dark Order still has no direction. Like for example, on AEW Dark, you will see Dark Order members in matches. Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. But like I said, that's only on Dark. Now you got AEW Dynamite where Luke Harper, Brody Lee, where he dominated the segments he had, but now that he's not there, there's virtually no appearance of Dark Order. So it's sort of like this whole group that was led by a great leader, they lost their great leader. And there's honestly nobody else that's going to stand up that's going to have the same amount of power and charisma and in-ring ability and everything that you would imagine in a leader as Brody Lee. So I do not feel confident in the future of the Dark Order, mainly because I don't think that AEW truly had a vision for the group outside of Brody Lee himself. So I honestly hope that that there is something for them, but I'm not too optimistic just for how I see them treating the Dark Order.
Yeah. I agree. I gotta agree. Long shot, the only way that they really fix it is by trying to incorporate in the storyline somehow that he had somebody that he wanted to appoint as the leader or had somebody he was training as a successor or some little crap like that. But I don't see them going in that direction. They should really just go ahead and disband and find something else for him to do. It's really, he was brought down, man, in the prime of his career. He'd been pushing for this since the Wyatt family broke up. Yeah. And they never really gave him a chance in WWE. Even they gave him that IC title run, and he was still over with that. And he was the little insane gimmick with the dirty T-shirt and all that. The crowd loved him, and that's forgettable. Just like the Big E's original IC title reign was pretty forgettable. It was pretty forgettable. But then as Luke Harper passed as Brody Lee. He was in the ring. That dude was cold, man. He could do everything. He didn't get a chance to cut many promos in WWE, but when he got to cut them in AEW, he brought energy. He brought energy and charisma. Who thought that he could succeed in a suit? You know what I'm saying? That's just not how you saw him. You saw him as a big dirty hillbilly. That's the only way he was presented. So he put on a suit. He still had the long beard. He just groomed his hair back and all that, and he was up there looking smooth. He was doing his thing. The only criticism I'll give AEW really, because there's no real great way to handle this situation. They're still establishing themselves as a company, and I don't think they should have retired the title, given it to his son and retired it. They could have given him a title, but they shouldn't have retired one of their titles that they're trying to build. So I got to come up with something new. But other than that, I feel like they should go ahead and get rid of the Dark Order and try something else.
And Harv,
in most cases, when the leader dies, the group dies.
I'll piggyback off of one of the ideas you mentioned, which was like a sort of like an appointee. They was kind of doing that with number 10 in the Dark Order, but even with number 10, it's still, just from how I see AEW taking it, I still don't see the trajectory that number 10 is going to have as the same as Brody Lee. So
right.
Yeah, it's a tough.
That's a long shot. That's the only thing I could think of for them to do. I really don't think it's a great idea. I just think that's the only way for them to save the group. But yeah, like you said, I don't think anybody there is really ready. It was pretty much the group was crafted around him. So
yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Like I said, it's premature like to try to push somebody from that group right now to be the top dog. You kind of be a little awkward unless somebody, some prominent name in AEW already maybe comes in and takes over and becomes that new leader. Maybe with just a shot of dark with when Eric Rowan, popped up on AEW. That could be that's really like the only person in my mind I can see taking over.
Yeah. But they got to do that right. They have to do that.
They have to do it right, yeah.
Careful with every move they do with that. But if they focus on it and like put as much energy as they did with Brody Lee in the Dark Order, it can work.
Right.
It can.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Dang. I ain't coming with no lightning round questions. I told you I wasn't prepared for today. Yeah. You have the things ready and everything.
I have a lightning round question.
I don't got a lightning round.
Should the WWE rent the Capitol building as the
oh my God, we're mute. We got to mute him. We got stuff. Yeah, my God.
I mean, there was a pay-per-view called Capitol.
Hold on, we're muting you too. All right, everybody, I apologize right now. The United States of America is going through some real troubling times right now, and we're trying to keep our shows neutral. And everybody has their own quote unquote beliefs. Some may be right, some may be wrong. A lot may be wrong, but we're just gonna keep it strictly on wrestling, and we're just gonna get back to episode 17. All right, thank you. I'm gonna unmute them.
It was neutral, Cinko.
I asked about a venue. I didn't ask about nothing going on in the world. I asked about a venue.
We're trying to stay off these topics right now because.
And then I brought up a prior WWE pay-per-view.
He's tripping, ladies and gentlemen. I won't ask my question again because we have a sensitive.
With that being said,
we don't want to upset the toddler. He gets red and fist starts shaking, and you don't want him to spit up, nothing like that. Continue, Cinko. Baby bro.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Frozen. Oh, there he is.
For episode 17 of Another Rose Podcast. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram. Another Rose Podcast, Facebook, YouTube. Another Rose Podcast on all podcast platforms. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. We're on everything. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube. Please and thank you. It just takes 5 seconds to find Another Rose Podcast and click that red button. Subscribe. Like I said, this is episode 17, Another Rose Podcast, and we are out.
What should they do, Big Harv?
Pump those numbers.
Yeah. Numbers, letters, all symbols of man-made devices that could cripple us all. Improve we can panicking when storm hits and knocks out the power grid. Are you fully prepared to live off the grid? How you think?